This is one of my favorite parts because talents are so fun and exciting, and they are such an integral part of our learning style. So really, when it comes to talents, there's something that comes very easy for you. It's not something that you have to work at. And as a result, it can be really hard to tell if you're talented in an area because it feels like everybody can do that. Everybody can walk in a room and get a bead on what people are feeling, or everybody can pick up a pencil and sort of sketch out what they're seeing, that bird or that tree or whatever. Or everybody's capable of fixing, this something broke in the house and I can put it back together. It just seems so obvious that we don't always recognize that it's unique. It is actually talent. Not everybody can do those things. Those things are special to each individual, and those talents really bring a lot of color and flavor to the personalities that we get in our homes that we're able to teach to, and also to ourselves. That this is what makes there be so much variety in the human race, is a lot of the different talents that we have. Another way that you can tell if you have a talent in a specific area is that you will really leap into it without any instruction, that you're just good at cooking. You're able to be in the kitchen and be like, oh, I think this spice with that spice and about this much flour, I don't really have to measure it, it's fine. That's a talent. Not everybody can do that. Or, maybe you're really good at math. You can just figure out, those shapes are going to fit together in this way because obviously, wouldn't they? But not everybody can do that. That's a spatial talent. So you don't necessarily need instruction, and it just kind of comes naturally to you. That's another indication that you are dealing with a talent. Talents can remain dormant if they're not developed. Like if you don't do anything to become a great pianist, it will become dormant, but it doesn't go away. If you sit down to the piano and start working on it again, you can develop. It will still be easier for you than it is for other people. So you develop talents. They get better with effort, but they always kind of hang out even if you don't develop them. And they're going to affect every area of your life. So let's say you have a humor talent. You're going to really find the funny in every single situation. If you're doing math, you're going to find the funny in how you messed up. You're going to see the humor in that situation, or you're going to see the pun in something that's being read. So it will color every subject you do, everything you get into. Your talents will affect how you see it and how you interact with it. Let's talk about them. There are 12. The first one is music. Now, obviously, people who are good at music can play. Like I have a son who is crazy good at music. He is able to hear a tune and he can repeat it back with his voice with no practice and no instruction. He can just go around and hum it. Even really complicated minor tunes, he can get it really square in his head. He just has a musical talent. It's not anything I've done. It's just something that he has. I have another child who has a musical talent. He can play on the piano with like no instruction. He's able to just sit down and say, oh, I think it sounds like this, and just create that music on the piano. So it can really display in different ways. Some other ways that it displays is humming or tapping. If somebody's constantly tapping, the drummer in your house that makes you crazy. They can also listen. Some people are really good at listening to music, and they just really love having music in their life. And this is an underrated talent that a lot of times we think, well, it doesn't take any effort to listen, but it really does. Listening to music for a long time can be very stressful to some people, and other people are able to assimilate. And not only assimilate, they can actually enjoy the process of just having music in the background, and that is because that's a natural talent for them. It makes their life much more beautiful to have music in their life. That's a talent. So the second area of talent actually has two parts, and it's math, logic, reasoning. So you can have people who are really good with numbers, who are able to see the relationship between numbers and are able to say, well, I could multiply those two numbers, or if I cut that one in half and then double that one, then it's easier to multiply. And of course that will come to the same answer because I understand how numbers interact with each other, which I have some kids who do that. I cannot follow it, but they do that, and that's pretty impressive. They just understand numbers. But there's another type of math, logic, reasoning that doesn't do well with numbers, really. They do much better with conceptual stuff. So they are really good at playing chess or checkers or architectural design. They see things in 3D. They see how things are going to snap together. They're really good at puzzles. Or electrical engineering comes very naturally to them. So they see things as concepts and they understand the flow of electrons, but they might not be really good with numbers. And so a lot of times we make the mistake with this talent and say, oh, you must not be good at math because you don't like sitting down and doing these math problems. But they're actually really, really good with math. They really understand the concepts, like Einstein understood the concepts concepts and not necessarily the computations, not necessarily all the formulas and stuff. They don't love that part, but they just really understand how logic works and how you strategy. These guys would be great generals. They're really good at seeing, oh, we want to put an emplacement over here and have the troops over here. They can see how the different pieces play together to accomplish the goal, and that is such a great skill. The next one is mechanical reasoning, and really the best example I could think of was Tinkerbell. She is such a mechanical person, you know, she just picks up all these different things and she puts them together and creates something new with it. She has great mechanical reasoning. People with this talent are really good at fixing things. I knew somebody once and she was almost ashamed of it, but it was kind of funny that she loved to take things apart. Like she really enjoyed pulling them apart and then being able to fix them. The vacuum broke or the toaster broke. She didn't just throw it away. She would take it apart and put it back together, and she really enjoyed doing that. And it was such a talent that she had because it brought her so much joy, and it was really quite easy for her to see how those pieces fit together. That is a wonderful skill too. A lot of being able to build things and create things. The next one is word or language reasoning, and a fabulous example of somebody with this talent is C.S. Lewis. He used his words in a way that was persuasive. He gets quoted all the time because he uses such a wonderful blend of logic and illustrations and just beautiful language. The way that he's able to use words to convey his ideas are so impressive and motivating. You want to actually be a better person. You understand things that you've never considered before because he has this talent. He has this ability to create stories. I mean, he writes a lot of nonfiction, but he also wrote The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which has sold I don't even know how much and has impacted tons of people. People who have this talent will do really well in things like Scrabble or bananagrams. They're very good at telling stories. They like to read stories. They're very good at crossword puzzles. They see the puns. You know, if somebody tells a joke and has some sort of insinuation, they're going to get it. They're going to see the reference. They're going to understand the implications there because they are very naturally good at understanding all of the words and how they work together, almost like a puzzle. Like the math reasoning can see numbers coming together, how they belong together. This word language reasoning, they can see the words come together and make this same logical flow. And so they're able to understand words and thoughts that come from words. People who have this a lot of times will become poets or diplomats, somebody who needs to diffuse a tough situation and use words to be able to comfort and counsel and bring people together. So if you take this talent and just think about what you could do with this particular talent combined with some of the personalities that we've already talked about, this can be really, really powerful. So this is a great talent to have. The next one is spatial talents. Now, I had a child who, when he was so young, I didn't even think he could see out the window over his car seat. Like, he was very young. And he made some comment. He was like, oh, we're close to home. We have to turn left here. And I thought, how do you know what left is? You know, I was impressed that he even knew which direction was left, but more impressed that we'd been driving around town and kind of out of nowhere. He knew where we were, and he knew where we were in relation to our home. And I think we were coming home a way that we'd never come home before. Well, no, we probably came home that way, but like not often. It was something that was different, and yet he was able to know in his head where we were and what we needed to do to get where we were going. This is a spatial ability. This is a talent. Not everybody has it. People who don't have it often will get lost. Somebody else I know who has this talent is really good at looking at a physical space and saying, oh, this will fit there. You know, this desk is going to fit in that area, or this space could be turned into a bathroom because, you know, that's how big you need for the tub and whatever. He could see what the physical space needed to be in order to accommodate imaginary things. But he could do it because he had a really solid sense of spatial awareness. And this is a real talent. And it's one that a lot of times we don't recognize. We don't think of being able to not get lost as a talent necessarily, but it really is. And some of the ways that people use this particular one, they're good at drawing or painting. They can also do architecture because you have to deal with, you know, all the spaces that I was just talking about. They're good at puzzles and mazes and contractors and home decorators and people who are just really good at putting things together. They oftentimes have this talent. The next talent is body coordination. This is a legit talent. And I've heard people talk about their kids and how they're able to go do gymnastics or dancing and just really know where their body is in space. And it's actually considered one of the senses that we've got, like the 5 physical senses, but you also have some other senses that are going on, and knowing where you are in relation to Everything else is actually one of the senses, and it's a talent. You can be really good at this. You can have an excellent talent to be able to say, I'm going to go do a flip, and I'll be okay because I know where my feet are in relation to my head all the time, and then I can put a twist in. This talent is really incredible, and you can do a lot of things with it, like gymnastics, obviously. You could also do biking. People who like to hike. I heard somebody talking about hiking. She'd loved to hike her whole life, and then she kind of started having problems hiking, that she was losing that particular ability just with age. You know, it got a little bit harder, and so it became difficult to step on rocks that weren't solid and maintain her balance, because her awareness of where she is in relation to everything else and her ability to change and adjust as the rock moves, that was going down with age. People don't think of hiking as talent, but that it really does use a body coordination talent. Skateboarding is another area that uses this talent so much. I have gone to different areas and watched people do skateboarding. It is incredible to me that they're able to maintain their balance and their awareness all through all those tons of different motions. And really, if you lose your skateboard, they don't just run out of options. They know where they are still. They've problem solved it. They know how to get down safely. So that is really kind of impressive. Parkour, ninja warriors, any sort of track and field, swimming, all of these things take a body coordination that is a real talent. And a lot of times when people have it, they feel like everybody should do this. This isn't that hard. And there seems to be this basic idea that that's true. Everybody could do well at sports if they just try hard enough. But there's actually a talent that is out there, that's a part of a lot of people who do really well in sports. They have that particular talent, and they deserve to be recognized for it because it really is impressive. Then we have interactive with yourself. So there are a couple of different things that, a couple of different talents here that you interact with different things. So the first one, you interact with yourself. This talent enables you to see what's going on inside your head all the time. You're aware of how you're feeling. You're aware of what is motivating you to do whatever it is you're doing. You're aware of if something's off, if you're feeling frustrated, you're able to chase it back and say, what created this frustration and how can I fix that? As a result of this awareness, these guys are generally really good at taking care of themselves. That they can stop and say, no, I am experiencing tension in this moment, and I need to be able to back away and take care of myself. They are also quite often introverts because it's kind of just part and parcel that being inside yourself mentally also creates kind of a socially inside yourself. And so they are able to back away more easily and say, I'm going to go be by myself and recover in whatever way I need to, because they're not an extrovert. So they actually get rejuvenated by pulling back as well. So those do blend very nicely quite often, that if you are very good at interacting with yourself, often you're an introvert. They're also very clear on what their opinions are and what they want, and they oftentimes are very good at going and getting what they want. So the next interactive skill is interacting with other people. I had a son who was put in a position of leadership over a group of kids they were not getting along, not even a little bit. It would actually become fist fights occasionally. It was such a stressful, tense situation. And none of the adults wanted this to be happening. They all wanted it to simmer down, but the personalities were so intense that it was very difficult to get everybody to just take a step back and relax. And so my son was put in this position of leadership, and it was really remarkable how he didn't try to change anybody. He just understood everybody. He just connected with each person where they were and was able to say, I see you, I understand you, I like you as you are. And as he individually connected with each of the kids, it simmered everybody down. They were able to connect, not necessarily with each other, but they all connected through him. He was friends with everybody. And this is such a talent, to be able to interact with other people and to recognize, hey, I know how you're feeling. I understand where you're coming from. And these guys are really inoffensive. They're just really good peacemakers. They're really helpful to bring down the boiling point in a room and to create a space where everybody can get along. Quite often these guys are extroverts because, again, they like to interact with other people. So a lot of these talents and personality qualities sort of mesh together and create people who are capable of doing something, who want to do something, you know, the desire is there, and also they have all of the tools they need to be able to accomplish it. So it's really kind of cool watching people who are naturally good at something because they have the talent, and they also have the ability to do it because of other parts of who they are. The next interactive one is with animals. Now, this is not a super common one, I don't think, but I have actually seen people. I have a sister who is quite good at interacting with animals. In fact, we had a situation that I'm not very good at interacting with animals, but she came in and she said, there's a bird that has fallen out of its nest. and the nest was up high and the little baby bird fell out. And I thought, oh, that's too bad, circle of life. But she was like, no, we have to save its life. We have to do what we can to help this baby bird. So I thought, okay, fine. So we walked out there, and she's just very aware of animals, very gentle. So she gets, I don't remember what we used, something that didn't smell like humans, paper or something, so that we could touch the bird with not us, because once the mama bird smells human on the baby, so that she'll just abandon it. So she's being very careful, and it's this fragile, tiny little baby bird, and so we're very carefully picking up the bird and putting it back in its nest. And I don't know if the mama bird ever came back and rescued that particular baby, but I know that my sister cared enough to be aware of the situation. Like, I had no idea what was going on there, but she knew about those birds. She knew when a bird fell. She desired strongly to fix that particular situation. And she took the action to be able to do so in ways that were most likely to be effective. That is somebody who has real talent with animals, that they really connect with animals. And we're seeing this more today a lot, that you'll see people with animals who've gone through some sort of trauma, that they will have those animals to help them regulate themselves emotionally and be able to deal with the trauma of whatever they've gone through. So, and I don't know if this is true, but I wonder if people who really lean on animals that much actually have a natural intelligence in this area, a natural talent to be able to connect with animals, and so that animal is more than just something that serves them. It's somebody that they connect with, not quite as a human, but much more closely. You know, they see them as a being worthy of a lot of respect and communication and love. So that's a really great talent for this world today. The next talent is being able to interact with nature. And I knew somebody who was so good at this. She was in one of my Mothers of Influence groups, and she, which by the way, if you don't know what that is, go check out Mothers of Influence, because it is awesome. It's a wonderful group of moms. They're all over the world, and they are just women who are trying really hard to increase the love in their lives and be able to share it with other people. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, she was so good at working with nature that she said she spent most of every single day outside with her kids. That they would really quickly eat their breakfast and get it cleaned up. I don't even know if they got it cleaned up. And then they went outside, and they would spend all day outside just doing whatever. And I kind of was like, we were in a really cold area of the world where she was. And I said, how do you do that in the winter? And she's like, we just wear coats. We just do, because it's so important that we get out in nature. Now, it wasn't super important to me, but the more I've thought about it, the more I think she probably had the skill of, or the talent of interacting with nature, that it was really important to her. It met a real need inside of her, and also she was just really good at it. So a lot of your kids or people who love nature, who want to go outside and who are really fascinated with snowflakes, or the way that light hits water, or, you know, fluid mechanics. They go out and they want to see the way that water works, or they're really fascinated with bugs, dirt, plants, any of these things, and they love it. They want to be out in it. This is a real talent. This is something that enables you to interact with the world on a level that is super important, and it's actually really a powerful way to connect with the things that are around you all the time. The next one is the humor talent. Now, there's a guy named James Beach, and he is a comedian. I don't actually know that he does stand-up comedy very much. He did a TED Talk, which absolutely is hilarious, because what he does is he receives all of these different emails, and they'll say, oh, I'm from Africa and my whoever died, and I want to give you all this money, and if you'll just give me your bank account, we'll be good to go. And it's a scam. And he's really funny, because he will always respond back to me. He's like, okay. And then he will take them on this long journey of kind of yanking their chain and giving them false information, and kind of poking them a little bit and saying, well, I'll only do this if I get a free toaster, kind of thing. And the people on the other end are like, I'm just trying to scam you. But the thing is, he has found a way to find the funny in every single situation. He clearly has a talent for humor. That he told the story of when he was a little kid, that he was so bored sitting in the car wherever they were going. He was just so bored. And they got there and they were parked. And so his mom got out and was going to come around and open the door so he could get out on the other side. And by the time she got there, he had gotten out of the car and laid down flat on the ground and was just acting like he had died, because he was so bored. And I think this is an absolute masterpiece of living, that you can say, the world around me is not responding to me the way I want it to, but I can choose to see it through a funny lens and just really enjoy it. And so he absolutely has the talent of humor, and a lot of people do have this talent. And, you know, some of them are going to grow up and become comedians, or they're going to become, class clowns or whatever, but a lot of them are just going to be people who find the funny, who enjoy life. A lot of people with this talent are moms, and they're able to laugh at the absurdity that is motherhood, that how on earth did we get ourselves in this position, and they can still just laugh and enjoy it. And I think it is such a talent. I love being around people who have this talent because they make light everything around them. They, even situations that are really dark and heavy and you don't want to deal with it, they can find the humor in the situation in appropriate ways sometimes, and help you really lighten it up and find the fun in everything that you do. So I love having people with this talent around me. The last talent is enhancing daily life. And this is another one that people do not normally see or recognize as a talent, but we all really benefit from the people who have this talent. Sally Clarkson has written a book called The Life-Giving Home, and she's so motivating. If you are looking for somebody who's just, from a distance going to give you a big hug and tell you how amazing you are as a mom, Sally Clarkson, love her. But she has everything she did growing up was this idea of making home a really beautiful place. So she would set her table. As soon as they cleared it off, they'd wash the dishes and they would immediately set it with a nice tablecloth, and they'd put candles on it and lovely everything. Everything was just super lovely all the time. And she would have baskets by her chairs so that people could sit down, and the baskets would have books in them so they could read anytime. So everything in her home said, welcome, I want you to be comfortable. I want you to know that I care about you enough to have created space where you can feel loved. And that is such a talent. And I have another sister who has this amazing talent of creating every physical space as a beautiful place. Actually, I know a ton of women who are good at this. They make their homes so beautiful physically. And a lot of times we don't appreciate this. It's kind of expected, but it's also just not appreciated. It's not looked at as something impressive. And let me just say, ladies, it's impressive. It is so amazing when you create something physically beautiful so that people who come in there can feel good. That is a talent, and you're sharing it, and you're really lifting everybody up when you do that. Other people who use this talent are interior decorators or landscapers. They can use flowers and bushes and everything to create that same inviting presence. Or on the other side of it, not actually creating highly decorated spaces, but people who are really good at cleaning and organizing are also, they also have this talent that they are able to say, I'm going to take kind of this mess and I'm going to put it into order and create an organization that allows us to all find what we're looking for and feel clean and put together. So that whether you have really decorated spaces or really clean spaces, either way, the person who did that, it actually has this talent and is bringing a lot of blessings to the lives of the people around. So it is such a really wonderful talent. So when kids have this talent, a lot of times it will show itself as wanting to paint nails or do makeup or decorate the yard or decorate the house in some way. They like to paint, they like to create beautiful things, or a lot of times they will be very good at clothing. They will look at different clothes and know which clothes are going to look good together. And so this is such a great talent because the people who have this talent, everywhere they go, they make the environment around them so welcoming, so that it is nice to have people in your life who have this talent, especially your kids. They're actually learning what it takes to make home or wherever they are a really welcoming situation. And so it's such a great talent to have, and it's something that I think everybody should work for, but some people naturally have it and they naturally bring that to wherever they go. So everybody has multiple talents. You're going to find that a lot of these you have that are pretty obvious, maybe some you hadn't considered before. Your kids have some that maybe you've never seen as a talent, and now suddenly you can see, oh, yes, they have always been really good with animals or nature or something. But everybody has multiple talents, and watching how they interweave with each other as we sort of interact with other people and nature and also ourselves, this is what brings so much joy to the world, is that there are so many different people with so many different talents. And knowing what those are really enables you to teach in ways that are easy because the kids naturally learn in these ways, and also really joyful because it's something that they really enjoy doing. That is it, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks.